wa ta'ala. Then something very important. He says, whoever spends time, is spending time helping his brother, Allah will be helping him for that period of time. And another narration, كان الله في عون العبد ما كان العبد في عون أخيه. Allah continues to help a person for as long as that person is engaged in helping his brother. Subhanallah. Look at this. So people began to help one another, they loved one another, they opened their doors for one another, they were feeding one another, they had a good feeling for one another. When they had problems or crises, they would resolve it immediately. The hadith continues to say, whoever removes a Muslim from a difficulty of the dunya, Allah will remove him from the difficulty of the akhirah and the day of judgment when he needs it more. Subhanallah. We sometimes create problems for people. Forget about removing them. It's a fact. This is why you find degradation of the nation. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. Then he says, وَمَنْ سَتَرَ مُسْلِمًا سَتَرَهُ اللَّهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. Whoever covers the faults of a Muslim, of a believer, Allah will cover his faults on the day of judgment. Look at this. Today we itch to expose people because that is the Western thinking, the idea. The minute you see something, announce it to the world. Go to the press, tell the whole world. That is the Western idea, that everyone should know everything about every single person. So what happens? A person might have turned to Allah after they have done something wrong. The world continues looking at them with an evil eye. And who are they to judge? Allahu Akbar. Whereas the Islamic teaching is, you see something wrong, you don't go and expose, you resolve the matter. If you love a person, see something wrong, you don't go and start telling the whole world. You go to them and you say, my brother, this is something that was wrong. Please rectify it. I am your brother. I care for you. And then if the person rectifies it, you are brothers in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's love. And the two of you will be resurrected together as those who love each other for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, granted a special place on the day of Qiyamah, the day of judgment. So this is of extreme importance and we learn a lot from it. And we learn how today we have different thinking because of the environment we live in, and we have this love of exposure of people, and we think that there is goodness in it, not realizing that if Allah were to expose us, none of us would be seated here this evening. Allahu Akbar. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us, and may He cover us in the dunya as well as in the akhirah. Then He says the powerful words, Irhamu man fil ardi, yarhamkum man fis sama. Have mercy upon those on earth, and the one in the skies will have mercy upon you. Meaning, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will have mercy upon you. Imagine these words. The Jewish people are listening to them. The mushriks are listening to them. And at the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Ansar and Muhajirin are learning from them. And they become merciful, compassionate. Their hearts open up and soften up at the same time. Then he says, a mu'min is not one who eats to his fill whilst his neighbor is hungry. Look at that. Words of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Neighbor hungry.